Our generation's response to this challenge will be judged by history. For if we fail to meet it boldly, swiftly, and together, we risk consigning future generations to an irreversible catastrophe.
This is Neil McFarquhar, the United Nations Bureau Chief for the New York Times. On Tuesday morning, there was an unprecedented gathering of more than 100 leaders from around the world for a climate summit at the United Nations. The Secretary General Ban Ki-moon called the meeting because the climate talks for a global agreement on reducing pollution and greenhouse gases has stalled. And they're basically hoping that by having all the presidents and leaders in the same building talking about it for a day, that they can get political momentum going, which has been lacking up to now. The morning started with speeches, and then it's going to break into sort of seminar sessions all day where the leaders sit around tables and talks. But in terms of the actual content of the speeches, a lot of the leaders restated their positions, but they also stated a commitment to change and a commitment to try and get an agreement. President Hu Jintao of China, who's the first leader of his country ever to come to the United Nations to address the General Assembly, said that China was, committed to trying to green its economy. And he also said that they would cut emissions by 2020, but he didn't give a specific number.
We will vigorously develop renewable energy and nuclear energy. We will endeavor to increase the share of non-fossil fuels in primary energy consumption to around 15% by 2020.
President Obama also reiterated his position, the position of his administration, that they want to cut greenhouse gases in the United States, but he, acknowledged the political reality. He said we're all going to face difficulties in our capitals.
It is work that will not be easy. As we head towards Copenhagen, there should be no illusions that the hardest part of our journey is in front of us. We seek sweeping but necessary change in the midst of a global recession, where every nation's most immediate priority is reviving their economy and putting their people back to work.
A bill has passed the House of Representatives that targets a cut of 17% by 2020, but it's probably going to be cut when it goes to the Senate. And more important, the Senate hasn't taken action yet. It's all been stuck behind the health care legislation. And, the president didn't say exactly when he would engage, but he did commit today that he was going to be involved in that battle. And also, there were a lot of other leaders from around the world speaking. The president of the Maldives in the Indian Ocean, which is threatened with sort of being drowned if global warming causes the seas to rise. He said that developing nations should be committed to mandatory targets. And that's a step forward from that part of the world, because the argument by developing nations has always been that, the first world causes this problem, all the pollution in the atmosphere is from your industrialization, so you should both help us, develop green economies, and you should also pay for the damage that you've caused already.